It is round 2 of the TruBank Des Moines Challenge presented by Discraft. We are out here at Pickard Park on a very blustery day. I'm Madison Walker.
I'm Erika Stinchcomb. We're the two hot geese.
Honk.
We're just doing our best to flap our wings in this 15 to 20 mile per hour winds we experienced today.
It was unreal after that front push through. It got crazy out here. We're watching Kristin Tattar after a blazing hot 9 down, leading the field by 6 strokes. Eveliina Salonen, Cynthia Ricciotti, and Mertsch all tied at 3 down.
Kristin Tattar, 1032 rated, highest of her career, course record, absolutely shredded. Honestly, she left a lot out there even.
And I think that's the highest of the year so far. Yeah, she probably left 4 out there.
Yeah, and I think 5 under today is probably going to be about as good as you can get in the wind. Hole 1's a par 4, 542 feet. You just want to throw something that ends up in the middle, and then the second shot, you just need to avoid this tree cluster on the right largely. It was a headwind. There's OB on the right that absolutely can come into play, and it's on the left as well, though it's harder to find.
First on the pad from Pernu, Estonia. Please welcome Kristin Tattar.
We had a little bit of a chance of rain today as well, so there will be some little showers rolling through all day. Thankfully, nothing too crazy. Just a lot of wind and a lot of swirly and gusty wind.
According to our friends at Statmando, Kristin's 6-stroke lead is the largest of her career after round 1, and the largest FPO lead since 2020 Jonesboro. Pretty cool.
Eveliina Salonen.
Kristin not biting off nearly as much as yesterday. I think we'll see a lot of that, a lot of more overstable discs, of course, and just taking some off of the distance.
I mean, this played as the easiest hole yesterday, but I don't think it even played under par today.
No, it did not.
I think there was only one hole that played under par today, period. I
didn't realize that.
It played pretty tough. That was a decent shot, though, from Eveliina with her destroyer.
Haven't seen Cynthia on too many lead cards this year, maybe 3 or 4. Excited to watch her attack this course.
So this is her second lead card of her career, the first being this year at the Dynamic Disc Open. Her 984 round yesterday is the highest of her career so far.
Wow.
Yeah.
Atta baby Cynthia.
All right, so this is a cool one. Ready? Mertsch, this is her 8th lead card of her career, all of which are in this season.
Wow.
Yeah, she's been
coming out swinging.
Shredding this year for sure. Her form's looking really clean. She's definitely got power. She's got forehand, backhand. Yep, got it all. That's a great shot.
I haven't watched her throw in a while. It's very clean.
Yeah, last year I remember it was like a little bit more, all over the place. Like just a little, like she always had the distance, but now she just has like the precision control as well.
Yeah, this hole averaged a full stroke harder than yesterday.
Wow.
Which is crazy.
Which is still probably close to par, I bet.
Yeah.
Yesterday, again, it played the easiest. It was just hard to get all the way there in the headwind. As you can see.
Yeah, it's pretty uphill. The camera angle does it pretty good justice, but it is definitely uphill, and that it turns into a left to right crosswind as you round this corner.
Great shot from Eveliina.
Really pushing that OB.
Yeah, it comes in tight there. And look at Mertsch, farthest off the tee, playing with some big arms too. And she's got the touch as well. I'm impressed. Cynthia from just outside circle 2, laying up for par.
Kristin giving it a good bid in this crazy wind. Not quite dropping.
So I don't think we've seen Eveliina on lead card since Waco this year. I've seen some feature cards, but nice to see her up at the top.
Digging the pink shirt. Highlighter paint.
Looking like a bunch of pars. And a birdie, obviously, for Mertsch, who shredded that hole.
Absolutely.
I just figured it was a par because it played a little bit harder. There can't have been that many birdies today.
It's almost a quarter of the field, surprisingly.
Really?
Yep.
Wow, it was so windy.
I know.
I'm impressed.
Yeah, me too. Hole 2 is a big downhill tee shot at 675 feet. You want to land over this tee pad, but don't push the OB deep. Your second shot's going to land somewhere around that big tree, ideally. And then your third shot's a little chip up to the green. We had some ladies getting putts in round 1, but the wind is definitely a factor on this one today. I don't know if we will see that as often. Check out the top left. We got tie-dye hats. You guys loved the dad hats before, and now they're tie-dye, so.
What more could you want? I actually think the wind was pretty favorable for this hole because it was right to left, so it's helping you just throw something straight, and then it's going to push it left, and then after that it's a tailwind on your next like big shot. So I think we might even see more birdies than yesterday.
Okay.
That's my theory. I do think this is kind of a, elite distance separator. Like your average FPO is going to find this like kind of a bonus birdie, whereas some of these lead card ladies, I think, are going to be able to get there for a putt for birdie.
Yeah, it averaged a 1/10 of a stroke easier today.
I think Kat really used that wind well. You see Kristin come up a little bit shorter. Eveliina puts it nice and high, now lets the wind carry it.
They are
That's huge.
way down
yeah,
there.
again, I think just pushing straight and letting the wind help you out, super smart.
Cynthia going for a much lower line, more linear, letting the hill do some of the work. And that's a pretty typical landing zone.
Yeah, you can't really birdie from there. She's got an opening. Some of these trees tend to get in the way, but it's really far from there, and that is an early release.
And those woods over there are
Awful.
rough. Thankfully, it looks like she went in pretty low. If you go in much higher than that, it's almost an unplayable area.
I don't know how much she'll have. It might be a pitch out. Kristin working the forehand around this tree. Yeah, look at this tailwind lift.
Are you kidding me?
That's so good. That
what
was
a nice little wind bounce.
Rive. Yeah, I kind of like throwing like a little nose up on a tailwind towards the ground and then just like riding the hovercraft, Kat Mertsch, really impressing me these first 2 holes. Kat through Wraith, then Star Destroyer. Eveliina, Destroyer off the tee, Thunderbird upshot, and this hole's easy.
Yeah, so easy.
Ugh. Maybe not for Cynthia. That's a terrible spot.
Not quite sure where she... Okay, there we go.
Not very far.
Oh,
It's going to be a very long putt, 80 feet. Kind of risky, too, on the hillside. You hit the cage and you can roll.
Layup is the smart option here.
Kat pretty low on the putt. She'll have to take a par here. Eveliina in for a nice birdie. Nice to see Eveliina cash one, especially in the wind.
Yeah.
You tend to see Eveliina throw super far off the tee, and then her struggles tend to start on the putting green. So that was a really good putt to start.
Yep, especially in the wind.
I was going to say the tester range gets 5 to 10 feet closer in this kind of a wind, you know?
Yes, it does.
Hole 3 is a very scenic but tight par 3 downhill, 320 feet. Forehand is a really common play, or gentle backhand turnover. You want to follow this drone flight through this biggest gap here. As you get farther down and get into this putting area, if you skip on the forehand, you can definitely find the water. You can see the OB stake line on the right. I do think forehand is like the better play, but you see probably an equal amount of forehand and backhand. If you are early off the tee, like, good luck even getting your bogey, you know?
Yeah, it's catching an early tree is brutal. Kristin manages to kind of slide through everything, and she'll have a very easy up and down, and maybe even a death putt that she'll want to contend with. But
if you can get past that first ditch, you're fine.
Yeah.
You know, like, you're pretty happy. It's pretty hard to get all the way to that short grass where Kristin is. Whoa.
Eveliina taking the side door.
Yeah, that was the destroyer. Not a bad shot, but also a pretty lucky break here. Kat is throwing her CD2 nice and low. I like that play.
Yeah, that's a very typical line, throwing it down and just letting it get ground play at the bottom of the hill. Wow.
Oh, you know what? Kat threw a destroyer. So I was looking at Cynthia's.
That was such a good backhand.
Cynthia CD2.
Peered it.
Yep. Kat went with a destroyer, and then she just lays up a pig. Kristin for 2, but just laying up, which is smart.
Yeah, there was a left to right crosswind here that was a little gusty. You never quite knew what was going to happen. Uh-oh.
Dang. Did that stay in? I think it did.
Yeah.
That was a good run, too. Like, pretty gentle.
It's exactly what you want here, and it just didn't quite get that drop that you expect.
Eveliina now having a bit of a tester comebacker and leaving it short. The dreaded 3-putt.
I feel like you just kind of have to accept that on a windy day like today.
Right.
Especially if you're playing aggressive on the
Starting,
green.
yeah, running it, you immediately know like it can turn into more strokes pretty quickly.
This played us the 4th most difficult hole of the day. There was only 3 birdies. Macy Vela-Diaz, Holly Finley, and Jessica Weiss getting the 2. There was only 2 yesterday.
Macy parked it with a felon. It was
Sick.
cool. All right, let's check in. Wow.
Not as many people under par
But
today.
look at Heidi Lane. 4 down through 7.
Yeah, she was on my card. She was getting them, that's for sure.
Yeah.
She can throw so far.
We're going to see a lot less people under par today. Just beating the course is going to keep you kind of in that top 10 area or move you up a few spots.
Yeah, in the front 9, there's a lot of OB, and the back 9, it packs in pretty tight as well. So, and the wind stayed up all day. Hole 4, it was a ripping tailwind. Is that right? Yes, ripping tailwind. And so you can kind of test that out of bounds water if you want to, and try to get some big distance and carry that the whole way. You'll probably see some safe plays as well, just laying up and taking a chip and playing for par. That drop zone is just behind the basket. It is a death putt downhill, and it turned into a crosswind.
Yeah, I had straight tailwind in my notes as well. So yeah, you kind of can hang it out over the water with like a little bit more confidence because the tailwind will stable it out.
But someone with a lot of power like Kristin, you could see her disc just got hammered.
Dropped, absolutely.
It's pretty normal.
Bottom banner there, everybody. Fierce disc golf documentary. If you haven't seen it yet, what are you doing? Follows Paige Pierce for the better part of a year on her journey to look for a 6th world championship and a backdrop of a growing FPO field. Kat Mertsch safe.
Cynthia really,
wow.
yeah, really trusting her disc and forcing it over and getting a ton of distance.
I like that a lot. Forcing it over in the tailwind and then trusting it to stable out. Eveliina going destroyer, of course. Hanging it out pretty wide and getting inside the circle.
And that was max power shot.
Absolutely. This is the pretty typical distance if you're just playing for par. Just kind of a 110-foot chip up. Kristin giving it a run from there. It's like 90 feet.
Yeah, it's kind of a backdrop from that area on the fairway, which is nice.
Cynthia from inside circle 2. It's a decent run. She gets a little bounce off the koozie to about 15. And Eveliina for birdie.
Wow, almost pushing OB deep.
Yeah. Oh, dang. That's
That was
close.
Such a confident bid,
Yeah,
too.
her putt is definitely like looking pretty strong. She missed that last one a little high as well. I think her typical miss is like low, you know?
Yep.
So it's
And she usually
looks
puts
smooth.
soft, too.
Yeah,
She's
she's
putting some
going
spin on it.
Yeah, I think she'll land a couple more today.
There were no birdies today.
Oh wow.
On hole 4. That's surprising.
I mean,
The wind
there's
was
probably
mean.
only about 10 women that can like get in the circle every time. You know what I mean? And yeah, the wind. The wind.
At this point, too, we're all kind of just trying to figure out how to play in the wind.
I believe Paige and I will do whatever it takes. We have 5 world titles, but that's not where we want to settle. We don't want to settle with 5. We want more. We would practice 24 hours a day if that's what it meant to win the world championship. You know, we're willing to do that. We're willing to sacrifice so much because we've already sacrificed so much, you know, to get the 5th. But we'll sacrifice more to get the 6th, the 7th, the 8th, the 9th. We have that same mindset, and we're just going to continue to push and push and push and push.
Hole 5 plays as an island hole 275 feet across the water. Absolutely just blustery right to left wind. You see a lot more backhands than forehands, I think, but if you hang the backhand a little too high with, you know, like a faster disc, it just carried it OB left. There's more room than you think in those trees on the right, and like more room deep, I think, than it looks on the camera. I think forehand is a super smart play in this, you know, to fight the wind. If you miss, there's a drop zone about 45, 50 feet away.
There is an out of bounds line over there, though, but you
like,
can see the stake.
Yeah, here's what I thought she was going to be safe. She rolled backwards. If it sat, it would have been safe.
That was a nasty roll.
Yeah, this one played really tough in the wind. Cat going forehand as well, throwing her tie-dye destroyer.
And it was all about the follow-through there.
It's a lot of hand gestures for sure. She's safe.
Yeah, the wind kind of, when my card came through, it was kind of switching between right to left cross and ahead. So you were kind of like, is this okay? Wait, no, actually this, no, actually this.
Yeah.
So it was doing a whole lot.
Yeah, I stopped keeping track after 12 holes because it just switched
Too much.
so constantly. So Cynthia across with a really linear shot there. She threw a DD3. So stabling up a little bit in the wind. You see a lot of like mid-ranges on this hole normally, but most of these ladies disking up this, except for Eveliina, Rock X3.
Nice.
Yeah, she's safe too. So here's a drop zone from Kristin. Super dangerous to run. If you hit this tower and roll, it can be just kind of a nightmare. Kristin drops safe. Bummer, we can't even see. Who is this? Cat?
Yeah.
It's a good pitch out. It does kind of suck to be safe and not have a putt. I was exactly right there where Eveliina is. Maybe she'll do it better than me. Nope.
Yeah, that's a weird one to run.
Oh, Cynthia too. It's a good hole though. I like that the OB isn't like right on the tree line. You know, they at least give you a chance to putt from there.
Surprising to see no birdies from our lead card here. But yeah, this green is pretty brutal.
Disking up and going long, like it doesn't leave you a whole lot generally. It is weird though to be safe and see so many pars. Usually it's a 2 or a 4 kind of hole.
Hole 6, an out of bounds line all the way down the left-hand side, and a tree line you do not want to mess with all the way down the right. You're just trying to get a big drive off here and land closer to the left to set up your second shot. The out of bounds line wraps around these little teeny trees all the way down the left side, and then it goes around pretty tight behind the basket. So you have to be very careful on your second shot. Really meter any skips that you get, any ground play, because you can find that very quickly inside the circle.
This was a pretty steady tailwind, I think, for the most part on the tee, and then as you were rounding the corner, it turned kind of into a right to left, which honestly isn't, it's like somewhat favorable, I think, for the shape of the hole. Cat early releases this, but she sounds surprised and says, oh, it turns. Huh. That was her Color Glow Champ Thunderbird.
This played as the easiest hole of the day.
I think the only hole that played under par. Whoa.
Cynthia with a big grip lock and a really favorable kick out.
Yeah.
Doesn't necessarily make the second shot any easier, but yeah.
I mean,
nice.
All that stuff on the right is inbounds. It's just terrible. So it was a pretty fortunate kick. Look at this absolute smash. Wow.
Ooh.
Eveliina with a destroyer. That's crazy that Katz is actually that far. I've seen her do some unreal things with that Thunderbird. Kristin taking a lower line with her rive.
I'm getting some great ground play.
Yeah, it's really nice. It's a pretty easy forehand chip from there, and you can throw a backhand if you really want to. From where Cynthia is, it's so difficult to get a backhand all the way there. It kind of forces the forehand.
Cat coming in pretty hot, but thankfully catching a branch, because that would have definitely toyed with the out-of-bounds line deep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this shot is interesting. It's not the hardest, but you kind of just need to throw to the gap and then let the disc fade. It's really easy to push too far straight or like cut the angle off too early.
Kristin's shot had some really great speed. No ground play at all, just landed nice and soft. Cynthia doesn't get the skip that she's hoping for. She'll have a circle 2 putt for par.
Eveliina can almost see the basket from where she is. What a great touch up shot forehand as well.
Almost 50% of the field getting this birdie.
There's one. What a great putt.
Yeah, capitalizing on that mistake of a drive that turned into a dream.
Let's see it again.
GK replay.
Great extension on the follow through.
Oh yeah, dead center.
I think this one played easy. Like, not easier, I guess, because of the wind, but unlike a lot of the holes, the wind didn't fully, like, harm you.
No, totally.
On this one.
It wasn't in your head as much.
Like, you could work with it. On a lot of the holes, you're working against the wind. That's a great comebacker for bogey from Cynthia. I mean, she probably doesn't see it that way, but
yeah.
Damage control.
Kristin and Eveliina just going to have some tap-in birdies.
Absolutely.
Playing the hole perfectly.
Eveliina going to be 1 down through the round. Kristin, I think, doing the same thing. Both 2 birdies, 1 bogey. Hole 7, super uphill par 3. You're going through a pretty tight gap that kind of forces you to throw like an Anheuser shot up the hill. There's out of bounds in the tall grass right and left if you're not careful. It is so difficult to get into the island. This actually plays as a true island for the MPO. For us, it's just, you know, there. We did see Kristin get into the wood chips yesterday, which is unreal. I know that Eveliina also got there and Katrina Allen got there, but it takes just at least 400 feet of power on a pretty technical line. And Kat's just going to do it. Easy.
11% of the field finding circle 1 in regulation.
That's so impressive. People improving after yesterday. Star Wraith from Kat there.
It was a really nice wind for a distance shot uphill. We had
That's
the
true.
left to right, so if you show the underside and rely on that disc to come back, you could definitely get some big distance.
That's true.
But it's scary because if it turns over too much, that out of bounds on the right-hand side comes into play very quickly.
Eveliina almost pin high right with the destroyer. I feel like the wind was like half the holes. It was like, yeah, this is fine, and half was terrible on the front nine. Yeah. Kristin getting most of the way up there. I think most people, if you're in circle 2, like, you're pretty happy. I don't think this plays as like the best hole for FPO. You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah, it's
not that
just kind of
exciting.
boring.
It's just kind of there. That was pretty exciting.
Yeah, getting some good distance, some
I'm actually
good
pushing the OB.
airplay. And then a nice headwind approach on an elevated basket.
Everything you could ever want.
What a
That's-
great shot.
Link, she doesn't seem happy with it, but I
Yeah.
think it's fine. I don't know if it got a little skip or something.
Kristin's still giving this a soft bid, maybe?
Now she's playing the game I like to play where you try to land on that second ring. I actually landed in the tiny ring today.
Me too.
So bonus points for us. Honk.
Honk.
Eveliina, that definitely looked like a run, but kind of soft and, you know, a little left the
A
whole
little
way.
nose up.
Yeah. Gosh. That's Kat's drive?
Yeah. Oh. Lots of wind on the green. There were 2 birdies today, Heidi Lane and Hannah Blomroos getting the 2. I watched Heidi. She was almost in the bullseye.
Nuts.
Oof. Slot of chains.
Yeah, it looked a little bit left side. Cynthia tends to putt with some hyzer. And also with the wind. Oh,
man.
That sucks. Cat a little high. Hits the band and the cage, which you don't see that often. Eveliina with a par. Kristin with a tap and par as well.
Yeah, this one
Difficult putting.
Yeah,
conditions.
this green is tough. Any green that's up on a hill
And elevated and wide open.
Yeah, we'll see a few more of those today. We're not
A
done.
trifecta.
Hole 8 is a big downhill bomb. It's 420 feet, and it plays, I don't know, like 350.
Yeah.
There's out of bounds all the way down the left-hand side, but the right side is safe. But you don't want to mess around with those trees on either side. It is rough in the rough. The out of bounds wraps around behind the basket. We had a pretty whipping tailwind, but once you got down here towards the green, it definitely calmed down a little bit.
I saw some discs do some weird stuff on this hole. Just like lift drop multiple times. It was really interesting. I think
This is probably the
that
most
looks pretty good.
Oh, yeah, it worked
fade
out
a little.
That was probably the most normal line I saw today. Is it just really trying to push that right side and letting it skip back towards the basket?
Yeah, it was a right to left. I don't know if you said already when I came through. So like, yeah, pushing that tree line and then trying to let the wind carry it, I think is smart. Kristin going Claymore again. Pretty straight mid-range from latitude 64. Wow.
Nice.
That's so pretty.
Yeah, nice little gentle landing on the green.
Yeah, she makes it look like there isn't all that wind. Today was one of those days where if you were last to tee, you were kind of like, I'm okay with it. Let's see what the other ladies are doing in the wind.
Yep, lots of data points to consider.
Kat trying to go forehand, which I haven't seen a ton of, but really burns it into the ground early.
It's a great looking shot from Cynthia. Just
Oh,
needs
yeah.
to settle because...
Calling for it to simmer.
Yeah, that's great.
It does. DD3.
It's played as the second easiest hole of the day.
Huh? Played a lot harder yesterday, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's interesting because I think typically, if we only have one course, the stats are going to improve. But with worse conditions, like it's hard to call which ones are going to play easier and which ones are going to play harder.
Yeah, definitely. Especially depending on... I mean, it could change depending on what direction the wind's blowing out here.
At the moment.
Yeah.
Eveliina, going aggressive. I like it.
Yeah, great bid.
She looks really confident on all of her putts.
Yes.
that's
Really comfortable.
Important. 1 inch too high on Kristin's birdie bid. Cynthia for birdie. Nice. You can see all that hyzer she puts on her putt. Cynthia does kind of like just a narrow straddle with a lot of spin.
It can be a little treacherous depending on the wind direction.
But it's got a lot of speed and power on it. It's pretty good for cutting through the wind. Eveliina with an easy par. And Kristin maintaining her 6-stroke lead the entire time. Finishing up on hole 9, it's such an uphill par 3, 290 feet, plays 320, 330. You kind of want to just barely crest the hill and then maybe turn something over slightly and have it fade at the very end. There's OB left and right that wraps behind very closely. I shouldn't even be talking about this one because I find it so hard to even get into circle 2 for some reason. Like, look at how steep this is. You're just...
Yeah, you literally
Like,
want to
look
go
at
like
it.
a foot over the hill, turned over, nose up.
Yeah.
Which is not a normal
It's
release.
counterintuitive.
Yeah, and that's a great looking shot from Cynthia.
Right, circle 2. Barely, I think.
And if you want to get aggressive, you can throw something a little more turned and a little higher. And give
Scary,
it
though.
time. Yeah, it is scary because that out of bounds pinches as it gets near the basket.
Eveliina going big with a destroyer here.
That's great.
That's the perfect turn.
Wow.
Mhm.
Settle. Okay, there we go. That is such an impressive shot with
Really is.
such an overstable disc.
Yeah, she obviously is super comfortable throwing destroyers in all conditions, though.
Kristin gets a ramp off the hill and still gets some big distance, but unfortunately turned over after the skip.
I feel like that kind of is the play, though. Just, clear it by less than a foot.
The wind was blowing right to left once you got on top of this hill, so showing the underside like Kat just did could be a little testy, but it lays down nicely.
I would say that Thunderbird again. That weird skin color Thunderbird that she throws.
Only 6 competitors finding their way inside circle 1 for birdie.
Cat from about 40. Tries to give it a little step, but that'll be a par.
And as we work our way up this hill, it gets pretty brutal with the wind. Doesn't bother Eveliina, though. She gets her birdie.
Great putt.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And that's to get 2 on Kristin,
That
which
was
is pretty cool.
And that's one of only 3 birdies on the day. Katrina
Nice.
Allen and Henna also getting birdies.
So that gets Eveliina to 2 down on the front, which, I mean, even yesterday is an excellent score, but today is stellar. Kristin even on the front, which is, for the conditions, I think probably the number in a lot of people's heads. If you could be even or just 1 under for the round, it's
Yeah.
a solid day.
Definitely.
Checking in, or well, recapping rather.
Not
Cynthia,
quite as much green as yesterday.
yeah, Cynthia 2 over, Kat 1 under, Evelina's 2 under, and Kristin even.
The mistakes are, pretty minimal, though. It's very easy to turn, a par looking even into a double bogey out here with this type of wind, with some out of bounds strokes and some putting woes. But everyone keeping it pretty minimal.
Yeah, Cynthia dropping back into a tie for 8th, where we see Macy Veladiaz at 2 under, Katrina Allen at 1 under, kind of jumping up towards that lead card.
Yep, and just keeping around even par is doing wonders in the top 10 right now. We still have 9 more holes, and the wind does not let up. It also gets a lot tighter on the out of bounds front, so we want you guys to come hang out. Again, thank you to our VIP members. You guys rule. We appreciate you so much. Also, thank you to GK Pro for doing some awesome FPO coverage. We got 9 more holes. We'll see you guys on the back. I'm Madison Walker.
I'm Erika Stinchcomb. We're the 2 Hot Geese. Honk.